today we've got Janvi on, and Janvi is going to share with us her journey that she's been on over the last 6 months with us, and all things fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and how it all went for her. But yeah, I'll like dive straight in. And Janvi, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to throw you in the deep end. Could you just introduce yourself to us and just let us know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, I'm Janvi. I'm in my early 30s. I run a marketing agency with my husband, who's also a musician. So, we spend a lot of our time either working from home or on the road for shows and concerts. And we love to travel as well. So, we are always trying to balance a pretty busy diary. And we have a little dog called Chuck. So he definitely keeps us on our toes.
Nice one.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, go for it, Vinay. Do you want to fire across
Yes,
the first question?
I thought you forgot I was here for a bit. You gave Janvi introduction and stuff, but yes, Janvi, if you kind of summarize for us before you joined Affinity, were you on a fitness journey? Were you doing anything? And what kind of made you or lead you towards wanting a change and joining into improving or getting your lifestyle better?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been working from home for about 5 years now. So over the last couple of years, I wanted to tone up, I wanted to strengthen up, just build a better lifestyle and improve our eating habits. And I kind of bounced across different things. I never really joined a specific plan, but I kept trying to do things. It would last a week, maybe two, and then life would get busy and everything would just go back to normal. And I think so, just kind of staying consistent and finding something that actually worked for me was really challenging. Um, I think it was probably July last year that Bhavik went to Kenya for a wedding. And obviously, when you go abroad, all you
Yeah.
do is eat, eat, and very little movement. And he basically just messaged me saying, when I get back, we need to do this and we need to sign up. And he sent me Nick's profile. And I thought, okay, great. This is going to be like another weight loss plan, something that I'm going to have to like be drinking protein shakes and salad and tofu all the time. I'm not sure I'm in for this. But anyways, I watched the videos and I thought, actually, you know what? This feels very relatable. Like obviously coming from a Gujarati background, just some of the things that you were talking about in your videos just felt very relatable. And I could see us being able to fit into the lifestyle changes that the program was promoting. And then obviously, because he was like, let's do it, let's just go all in together. We spoke to Nick and I thought, okay, you know what, let's give this a go. I think it could really, really work. And I wanted to find something where it was sort of simple, realistic, effective habits that we could put into our routine and things that we could sort of learn and do, especially when life gets chaotic. Because I think that was the most difficult thing for us to stay consistent. And so, yeah, we spoke to Nick and then we joined.
Amazing. I love it when couples join because I think it just adds that extra layer of accountability. And
Yeah.
prior
Yeah.
to joining, I know that you said that you yourself had dipped into a few things and it kind of stuck for a few weeks and then it fizzled out and then you try again and things like that. Was that both of you doing it together at the same time? You'd like dip into things and then it would fizzle out,
Um,
or would it just be sort of you doing that yourself?
Yeah, a lot of times, I mean, in terms of like food and like meal planning or just kind of trying to pick better food options and things, we would try and do it together. In terms of kind of workouts and things, I would kind of do it more independently. Previously, Bhavik joined a different plan himself. But again, it was kind of, we did it separately. So we didn't really ever have that accountability towards each other to kind of be like, okay, you need to get on with it.
And how has it felt then being on the journey together and doing it together and sort of, I guess, working towards a joint goal, like t together in unity? Has it
Yeah.
made things easier than what it was prior?
Definitely. I think if just one of us had started or was doing it on their own, I don't think it would have been as effective. I think we also both have different strengths. Like I love cooking, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Still
take
waiting for our dinner invite, Janvi. We're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
waiting.
yeah. We're waiting.
I'm working on it. So I would kind of yeah, I'd be really great with all the meal planning and kind of the food side of things. Bhavik like he's been to the gym before, he knows how to use the machines, he's a lot more confident with it. So with workouts and things, it worked really well because I enjoy doing classes, but I was really terrified of using the weights at the gym. I found it quite intimidating. So kind of having both of us to help each other and support each other where our strengths are really helps. And I think even just generally, like when we're going out and things like that, it's not like one of us is sitting in the corner eating a salad or something like that. We're able to kind of build something together. And a lot of times, like people don't even know we're on a plan.
That's the
It's
beauty of it.
100%.
Yeah.
If I showed you pictures you sent to us of the meals you're eating to someone, I don't think anyone would say that, oh my God, this guy's on a diet or on a plan or cutting or counting calories, because your meals look so good. Hence why Nick's like when we're coming over. But it's like they look good, so I guess you enjoy
Yeah,
them more, right? It's not something
yeah,
that you've kind of said, scrap everything, this is the plan, this is what meals you're gonna eat, like you said, tofu, this and this. It didn't work for you before. Um, you still ate your standard Gujarati meals, I'm guessing.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's been the real big thing for me. And you know what? It's not even just been me. Like I've even when I speak to my mom or my sister-in-law, like we love to cook and we love our food, but I'm always trying to find ways that we can kind of just adapt and make a few changes to our meals, um, sneak in a little bit more protein here and there, especially on a vegetarian diet. Like it's so hard. And I think that sometimes is the tricky bit is that you just don't know what to eat or what's the right things. So yeah.
The changes don't need to be groundbreaking, which I
Yeah.
hope you've sort of seen through the process as well. Like for a lot of people, it's just simply a case of maybe reducing a portion of something slightly and maybe adding in a little bit more veg and salad
Yeah.
and things like that. And then, yeah, like you say, looking for those protein sources as well. But what I always say to vegetarians as well that we work with is like, yes, protein is super, super important. We want you to add those protein sources in, but at the same time, don't stress too heavily about these big fancy protein numbers, which I think a lot of social media and maybe even other programs push on you to be hitting these wild and wacky numbers as vegetarians. It can feel quite stressful. Um, Protein for vegetarians is like one of like 10 other things that you could be focusing on. Like, make sure that you're drinking your water, sleeping well, walking, training, fruit, veg, that sort of stuff. As long as you're
Yeah.
covered on that, that can then kind of make up for that slight lack of protein. So yeah, it's that's exactly what you guys did as well. Like you didn't sort of completely overhaul the diet. It was pretty much a lot of the same things that you were having before, but those tweaks, I noticed the salads increased and things like that. That was like
Yeah.
all on the
I
up.
think also just portion control. Like normally I would just cook and I would just kind of like eyeball things and there'd always be a little bit extra. And obviously, coming from a Gujarati household, you always cook extra. Like it's just
Yeah, yeah.
what we do. I mean, I hate like wasting food. So we'd always try and finish that little bit and then end up being like super full, can't be bothered to move. And now literally just portion controlling. And like you said, Nick, instead of having a full plate of pasta, we'll have half a plate of pasta and the salad. And it's actually just as satisfying, but we know that it's a lot more healthier and we don't feel so stuffed at the end of it. So, yeah, it's all the little tweaks that we've done, which I can also keep doing.
100%. I know you touched on it before briefly, like when you introduced yourself, what you do and stuff. If you can kindly walk us through like a normal day in your life before you joined Affinity to say, this is what my normal day would look like, food wise, workout wise. What did you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, so we'd wake up and try and get Chuck out for a quick walk in the morning. Um, and then literally just sit at the desk and just crack on. And I mean, we'd sort of plan out the day roughly, but a lot of times, like we probably would very like not get a lot of movement in the kitchen. We live in an apartment, so we don't have loads of stairs to climb. We don't have lots of rooms to move around in. The kitchen's just here, so we'd literally just crack on with stuff. Have a few food breaks, meal times. I would always be, it would always be the what shall we eat? We're really hungry. I don't mind. What's the options? Raid the fridge, find what
Yeah.
there is, rustle it up, eat it, done. Um, and that was pretty much it. When we had social plans, we would still carry on with that. When we were on the road, we would try and, for shows, we would try and sort of plan things a bit better. But it's really easy to just eat out or pick up a takeaway or pick up snacks. And very recently we realized also from working at home and literally just being right next to the kitchen. The snack cupboard is always getting opened. Even if we're not hungry, it's just like a thing to do. So I wouldn't say we had a really unhealthy lifestyle before, but there were definitely habits that needed improving, and definitely more movement that was needed.
100%. I don't think it's like that for anyone. Like anyone that we come to work with in this day and age is not like eating like rubbish throughout the day. It's those fine habits that need, tuning basically and making sure that you're tidying up a few areas and then most importantly, being consistent with it and not doing what you were doing before, where it's like you try it for a little bit, it fizzles out, and then you try it again for a little bit, and then it fizzles out again. I think that's where people stay stuck. It's just making
Yeah.
sure that you're nice and continuous, which you were for that 6, 7, 8 month stretch, and like that's led you to the results that you got to now.
100%. Obviously, you finished your program, so you kind of, I think you finished your program, then went on holiday, right?
Yeah.
And now you're back. And where would you say you are now in terms of walking time, results, changing in body, energy, mood? How do you feel like knowing you finished the program, you went on holiday, you're back? Is your mindset still there? Are you still doing all the things? Have the habits changed forever?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though I think it's probably been about a month since we've got back and probably a little bit longer since I've stopped, but everything's pretty much the same still. Like I've been able to maintain the weight. I was actually quite surprised because I was being a little bit less mindful while we were on holiday, but I think because I've naturally just built in these habits now, it doesn't seem like it's something that I'm doing really differently. I definitely feel a lot more fitter, a lot more stronger. I'm toning up. This is still the start though. Like there's a lot more toning and strengthening to do. But I feel so much more confident. Like I actually enjoy going to the gym now, and not just classes. We're also just like I'm just trying to fit in steps and little bits of movements here and there, which it's actually very easy to do, but you need to just get into the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it doesn't feel like I'm off plan kind of thing, or I was on plan. It's
Yeah.
kind of all just become a routine. Um, and even yeah, now like when we go out and I look at menus and things like that, even when I go shopping, I'll always still look at the back of the packet just to kind of see. I was never really someone who counted calories, but it's just really eye-opening to see. And even just ingredients of like how much processed stuff things are, and then using that to kind of just adapt what we eat at home. And sometimes if there's snacks that I feel like eating, I'll always try and see if there's a better snack or a healthier option I could do instead. So I think some of these habits are just have stuck with me now.
And how have they sort of impacted your life outside of the like I look better, I feel better, but has there been any sort of improvements in, I don't know, the way that you guys work together, your productivity, just sort of like your overall mood throughout the day and things like that, like having this element of getting some fresh air and training and eating well, like have you noticed differences in that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just small things like just getting up and getting to the gym or going out for a long walk in the morning has definitely helped us slow down our mornings, because otherwise it was just get up, check your phone, check your emails. We'd just be go, go, go the whole time. And we'd by the time we realize, oh my God, I'm exhausted, it's just like the end of the day. Or, now like just having that slower start, just having that movement and stuff, it just sets us up for the day. Even just trying to get out in the middle of the day sometimes, if we feel like we've had a little bit of a heavier meal or something like that as well, just getting out, doing that. And I think not just the physical aspect or the energy, but I think just mindfulness as well. Like it just helps refresh. And we're not feeling as tired and low on energy, I think. But just before we joined, we did hit a point where we were very exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a combination of lack of movement, foods that we were having, or, snacks that we were eating, and just generally not fully looking after our lifestyle. So I
So
think it's
just because
definitely an
just because you
impact.
touched on it, it'll be a good time to ask it. It's just come to mind. So like that lifestyle that you were living before, which was very much go, go, go. You wake up, you're on your phone, you're on your emails, you're working, and by the end of the day, the only thing that you want to process and do is just like, look, sit down, watch TV, have a nice dinner, and just chill.
Mm.
I guess for a lot of people, they live that lifestyle. I've definitely been there. A lot of people that we work with say that, and was there a point when you were living that lifestyle where you guys felt like we don't have time for this, like we don't have time for a program like this? Um, so was there a time that you ever felt like that? And has it required as much time as you thought it might have?
So there's definitely a time like that. I mean, it just the thought of having to be on a plan, to have to like meal plan and count calories and measure everything and just, constantly be checking in to be like going to the gym and like all of this, like it definitely did feel like, oh, we don't have time. And initially it did take a little bit of time, doing all the
Yeah.
meal plans, tracking everything on my fitness pal. Like it was a bit long, but it was for that initial phase. And then once everything was like in order, in routine, it started to flow a lot better. And actually, I realized that a lot of times we would just say we don't have time as an excuse. Like if we really wanted to get that workout in, we could just wake up that half an hour earlier, or just book that class in and stop giving excuses that they're all booked. Because
Yeah.
if I really wanted to do it, I've got to just set a reminder and do it. And I think that was something that we just always kept doing, is just the excuse of, oh, the time, oh, the weather looks a bit rubbish, I can't be bothered. And I think that's been a mindset shift for us. And just feeling a lot better after doing those things just encourages us to do it more and more. Yeah.
100%, 100%. I agree. It's the first, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks is like a little bit of a teething period. But
Yeah.
as with anything that's new, you're going to go through a little bit of a teething period just because some of the stuff that you're doing is a little bit different to how you were
Yeah.
living your life. But once you get into the swing of it, you then get to the point where you're at where it's like, oh, actually, look, well, doing all of this stuff is beneficial to my day. And it just means that I then get more time on other things. And I'm not wasting brain power on like asking Bavik a million
Meal
times what we should
planning.
have for dinner.
Meal planning was the biggest game changer. Like, I just know what we're gonna have. And sometimes we don't have what we've planned, but having that bank of just meals that I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, we don't want to eat this, we'll eat something else. Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's an investment,
awesome.
right? You've invested into your health, your lifestyle, because a lot of people now invest into all these different things, right?
Yeah.
Cars, crypto, all the time, but no one invests in health.
Yeah.
A lot of like as a father, other people or other parents I know, they'll say, I'll do anything for my child, I'll die for my child.
Yeah.
You should not be saying
Looking
that. You
after
should be saying,
yourself
yeah,
first.
you should be saying that, you know what, actually, I need to look after myself for longer
Yeah.
so that I can be around for them longer rather than saying, I'll die for you, right? It's like, I'm like, yes, set examples
Yeah.
now. I'm sure Nick does it now with himself. Sets examples. The real will follow on. So
Yeah.
we'll do it like, will follow. Hopefully Jane will follow one day. And it's just the whole household does it, right? It's investment into thing. Would you say that like you made the right choice or you felt right or were you confused? I would say, cost on one side, doing it on one side, time and everything. You covered time, but you haven't covered cost. The investment, would you say is the right amount you invested? Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this is something that me and Bhavik have recently been talking about, is I just think that investing in our health has just been so important. Like we easily have a gym membership that we were not utilizing, that we would literally, it was just direct debits were going out. We'd go to the gym maybe once a month, like without even thinking about it. It was just there. Or, we'd go out for like a round of drinks or something, and we wouldn't think about like, we wouldn't
Yeah.
count the pennies, we wouldn't go splashing out, but also like, £50 here or there, like we could, that £50 could buy a whole healthy food shop for the week kind of
Yeah.
thing. So, you know, and that kind of thing, like we just don't think so. I definitely think just joining the plan, I think it was one of the best
Yeah.
decisions that we did. And it just such a great investment, because it's not only just habits and things that we've learned for 6 months, it's to take with us for the rest of our life. Like if you divide that for however many years you're going to
Yeah.
live, like it's really nominal. But it's also not just that. It's like the stuff that I've learned, I've now shared with my mom and my family and my
Yeah.
parents. And, like you mentioned about inspiring your kids to do things, I've tried to teach my parents some of the things that I've learned, even just small things about pushing them to get out on their walks, like,
Yeah.
and get those steps in and things.
Yeah.
And, they're
Go
at an
out.
age where it's like, if like they think, oh, it's too late for me to change habits, or
Yeah.
oh yeah, but I like doing this, and I'm like, that's great, but And I think their perception also is like, oh, what do you mean like eating healthy? Like I've had my whole family round for Diwali, like cooked up a whole feast, and it's been a healthy meal. And I think that's been an eye opener for them, is like you don't have to eat really not very nice food for
Yeah.
it to be good and nutritious and healthy. And it's still all the Indian food my mum would have made, but just a little bit different. So I think it's also that it's impacting and inspiring our families as well, not just the investment we're putting into ourselves. So it goes a long way.
Awesome. Awesome. You touched on it a little bit, but I'm just going to ask you because I've got it listed on one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. What's been the biggest learning, the biggest game changer for you guys, or for you even throughout the process? So almost like the aha light bulb moment where you're like, ah, this is the game changer here.
I think it's I think it would be probably just starting small and being realistic and consistent. Like you don't have to be perfect with everything. Your plan doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just being consistent. And I think that was the biggest challenge that we had. And after joining this and doing it and staying consistent and seeing the results, I think that's been the biggest thing. You know, if there's a bad day, don't let it derail you. Like just pick it back up, know what to do when things have gone
100%.
wrong and how to get back. Is probably, yeah, the biggest thing.
Perfect. Perfect. You said it earlier, but it might have got missed, but you also said like the meal planning side of things has been really, really cool for you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we do like the way that we do things in our program is a little bit different. It's not the typical meal planning that people are used to, which is like spending like a Sunday afternoon prepping food in boxes and things like that. But like our expectation for anyone that's listening is to come into the program and simply just like make a plan for the week, so you know what your breakfast, lunches, and dinners are going to be. So you're not asking your family, your partner, or whoever else that dreaded question every evening is like, what should we have? And then you sort of umming and ahhing, backing and forth, going back and forth for half an hour. But um, how has that helped you guys? Has it taken a lot of your time to sort of come up with this plan and things like that? And yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Like I said, initially it was a little bit time consuming, just kind of, it was more because of the calorie tracking and things and trying to work out. But honestly, now, like I have a whole spreadsheet, you know, I love my
Yeah,
spreadsheet
yeah.
of all the different meal plans for the weeks. And it's so much easier now. It literally takes like less than 5 minutes. We've also just really simplified our lunches and dinners. I mean, our breakfast and our lunches are pretty much the same every day during the week. And then dinners are a little bit more adventurous. But just meal
Yeah,
planning, you know, it's just been simple. And food shops as well. It just means it's more intentional. Um, yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Really good. Finally, if you were to give three tips to someone on the edge, or either joining us or on any other program, or just taking a step to say, you know what, I want to take that investment or step into my health, what three pieces of advice would you give someone to kind of encourage them to say, you know what, it's the right time to do it?
Um, so I think the first one would be what I sort of touched on, was just start small and be realistic. Don't try and go for a big like drastic change, because you're just not going to hit it and you're going to get demotivated really quick and probably not stick to it. Secondly, I think, you know, if you have a bad day, or you know, if something doesn't go to plan, it's fine. Like just get on with, like just pick yourself up, don't give up. And I think a third thing would probably be find what works for you. There's so many plans, there's so many videos, there's so many things out there, and it's quite overwhelming sometimes. So you've got to really find something that relates to you and your lifestyle, or the lifestyle you want to build, and then find what works for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Janvi. There's some really, really good insights. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Thank you, thank you.
You hit the nail on the head with a lot of it. So yeah, really, really
I
good.
mean, it's literally just what I've picked up from you guys, like the real impact it's had for us. So yeah, thank you as well.